Welcome to the Impact Lounge. Feel the sound. Legends in the ring making moves all around. We got the fire, the heart, the stories untold. This is our moment. Watch the magic unfold. Welcome to the Impact Lounge, where we reign. Kings and queens of the ring breaking chains. We taking wrestling to a whole new height. Under bright lights, we ignite the fight. Genesis to rebellion. The crowd still chanting.
Hey, jobbers, what is good? It is your boy, BQ.
That kick out.
This is the Impact Lounge. This is your TNA Impact review for February. Man, why am I saying February? It's like damn near 2 months later. April. It is April 3rd, 2025. Sorry this is coming out a little later. I did record yesterday morning. However, I was not feeling very well, so I did do the podcast, but it just sucked ass, man. Like, I was like, I can't put this out. So feeling a little bit better this morning, but I was just out of it yesterday, and it just wasn't translating very well to the pod. So I figured, put it out a day later rather than, give you some shit in a bag. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into this. One time for your mind, though, I want to open by saying, obviously later in this episode, they introduced a new title to TNA. Not physically, but Santino name dropped the title. There's going to be a tournament, whatever. We're going to talk about it. It's the international title. And I'm seeing, for the little that I'm on social media, or the little I'm on Twitter, I should say, I'm just seeing all these retweets and all these posts about, is it international title? Where's the international talent? I think one wrestler's from Canada. I think it's Eric Young. Everyone else from the United States. Who the fuck cares? Okay, it's the international title. There's the intercontinental title. The intercontinental title for the first 15 years had two minorities even hold the damn title. All right. It was like Ricky Steamboat, Tito Santana, and maybe there's one or two other, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, what happened was that once upon a time, long ago, like 3 years ago, AEW introduced a title, the international title, and they had a tournament, and people were from all over the world, different countries, competing for it. And that set this precedence now that obviously this title has the same exact name, but it set this precedence where, oh, well, now it's got to be this, anyone from any countries. Who fucking cares? Because ever since that tournament ended, it's just been another title. It's just another mid-card title. Yes, they have a little more international flavor because they have a larger roster and they have more access to wrestlers like that. But what would make you feel better if Laredo Kid was in this tournament? Okay, with that, you want Chavo? Like, will that make it better? Like, who cares? The Digital Media Championship is dead. Let us celebrate that we have a new mid-card title coming, and hopefully it's legit. Hopefully it's what we've been asking for, because we're going to be stuck with it for the foreseeable future. So let's get behind the title and hope this is something that, starts elevating people in the mid card so they actually have something to fight for. Because that's been something I've been saying forever. You're either wrestling for the world title or you're not. The X Division, it's still lower card guys for the most part. I know Moose has it right now, but for the most part, it's mid card, kind of upper lower card guys. It just is. They try to say this is our mid card title. It is not. Okay, Digital Media Championship definitely never was. It was a dumb idea by Scott. I have known for a while that the Digital Media Championship was not returning. I just kind of alluded to, I don't think it's coming back, but I knew it wasn't. I just at the time really wasn't at liberty to say anything. But let's just sell. Who cares? Okay, because once the tournament is over, it's just going to be a title. Like, who? I mean, seriously, TNA does not have that kind of roster where they're bringing people in from all over the place. The World Championship means the championship of the world, right? So we've seen world title tournaments. And we're not sitting here. Where's the representation from Japan and Mexico and all that? Like, seriously, it's just a title. It's a title. Okay, enough. Let's move on to this episode of TNA Impact.
TNA Impact. Oh,
This starts off with on commentary, Brother Love handles the TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry.
Believe that.
And I said last week that I had a new soundbite for him, but I actually forgot to load it up. So we will debut that next week. Why not? Got to switch things up a little bit. So the first match of the evening is brought to you by your ring announcer, who is Mackenzie Mitchell.
Ding bong, ding dong, he's Stone Cold Aye.
And the participants in this matchup are King of the Block Party, Frankie Gazerian.
It's a block party. I'm not playing with y'all, bruh.
And your favorite wrestler, Elijah.
Nurture me, brother. We both.
This is the worst song I've ever heard.
This was the worst match I've ever seen. No, so there's something that TNA does, and I would probably argue everyone else does this. Well, maybe not AEW because every match has to be as long as humanly possible, but I think WWE for the little I've seen now and for the for what I've seen over years, they do something similar. If a match is on a card and it is designed to further an angle, the match is usually bullshit. They're not going to give you these two guys are not going to wrestle for 7-8 minutes and then we're going to further some kind of storyline after it, because then it's just taking up a large chunk of the show. So this match was put here strictly to further an angle, which is fine. But with that being said, the match was complete crap. And Frankie Gazerian does not have bad matches. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty much everything he does on screen is very good. In the ring, Elijah, not so much. He's not the best worker in the world. So it was a shit match. That's the negative. The positive is that what happened in the match was that there was a scuffle on the outside between Frankie Gazerian and Joe Hendry. And Frankie Gazarian's been poking the bear for a long time. He won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy in October. He has not had a single fucking feud between now and then. Maybe a little Leon Slater thing, whatever. But for the most part, between October and now, he has not even had a feud. But they have found creative ways to insert him into the show and build some intrigue around how's he going to cash this thing in. All right. So he's just kind of been poking the bear, but he hasn't really been in the mix. The positive is that when he got into it with Joe Hendry backstage, finally, for the first time, Joe Hendry's media darling push has been happening almost a year now, probably about 10 months or so. And he's been a goofy son of a bitch every single minute of it. He's wrestled for the world title 3 times, including the 6-way Slammiversary, but let's just say for sake of argument, twice. Nick Nemeth twice, okay? No, not even a glimpse of anger, heat, emotion, aggression, nothing. Fucking goofy fuck the entire single time. Entire time. This was the first time we ever seen any kind of real emotion and aggression out of Joe Hendry. If you remember Slammiversary last year, Josh Alexander nutshots him, pins him, and the dude shows up next week on TV doing his fucking goofy shit, doing his act, his shtick, and he wasn't even mad. He wasn't mad till like 3 weeks later, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to feud with Josh Alexander, and he's like kind of mad. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been waiting for the aggression. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is the moment where Joe Hendry turns the corner a little bit and just tightens up the character going forward as a world champion to where it's not the sing-song shit all the time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a slow build to this point, but we got some heat. I would have been more interested if the main event for Rebellion was just Frankie Gazerian versus Joe Hendry at this point. It's not going to be. We'll talk about that later. Where's JBL, by the way? Talk about a fucking... Oh my God, dude. Talk about first of all, whoever cared from the very beginning, and I don't even think like it never played out to anything. I mean, I guess it's entirely possible he gets involved in this match, but I really hope not. So they have a brawl though, which leads to Elijah going into the ring, Frankie Gazerian giving him a bullshit roll up with a handful of the jeans and wins the match. But the brawl ensues and Joe Hendry gets hurt. Fake hurt, by the way, because there's nothing he did in this to injure himself. Like nothing. This guy's wrestled, 15-minute matches on TV and hasn't got hurt, but he fucking around with Frankie Gazerian backstage. So after this, they have him backstage with Dr. Asa.
You have 24 hours to live.
24 hours?
Well, 22. I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long.
And they're selling a Joe Hendry shoulder injury that is going to play into the end of this show. After this, on the menu, we have a system public firing. That's what it was being billed as. So, King of the White People, Eddie Edwards.
Ooh, I'm white.
He comes down, and actually, when he's cutting his promo, they're booing the shit out of him. So he's still got quite a bit of heat. So, there were people saying, well, is this leading to an Eddie Edwards heel turn? I don't think that's where it's going. Excuse me. Based on, based off that crowd reaction, I don't think the company's like, oh, it's time to turn Eddie babyface, especially because they unlocked Alicia Edwards, who for a long time was just, just a piece on the show. She was just something they just added, bad acting, bad segments. And now look at her, I'm saying? They unlocked her. So it wouldn't make any sense for them to break them off and do any kind of babyface run. But Eddie Edwards is in the ring. He is talking about his vision for the system, and he calls the system out. They come out and Alicia does what she always does, puts her fist forward with the ring, but no one else joined her. By the way, her dress was very short. I think we saw her vag at one point. You know what I'm saying? The old stink box. I say whatever I want on this podcast, so if you guys don't know that by now you do. So the system's in the ring. Eddie Edwards approaches Johnny Dango Curtis.
These are spirit fingers, and these are gold.
He says, "Are you in or out?" He says, "Shut up, town. I'm in." Then he approaches his tag team partner, Brian Myers.
What is she going to think when she comes in here? Oh, look, he's got a billion toys.
Are you out or in? He talked about their two-time tag team champions. Brian Myers says, let's finish what we started. I don't know what that means. How do they finish it? They've won multiple titles. Anyway, he's in. His beautiful bride, Alicia.
Hey, baby.
Are you in or out? She says, do you want to know something? I love you. I'm in. I promise I'll never talk like that again on this podcast. And then he approaches Moose, the two-time grand champion. Are you in or out? Slight bit of hesitation.
Damn you, Moose.
And we get the TNA fart in church, Cody Deaner.
I pray that the blessing of Almighty God may rest upon your counsels.
Very random person to add to this segment. Not someone the fans particularly care about. He goes for a lot of cheap pops, and that that kind of gets him, a reaction.
Oh!
But he comes out and he says that Moose should leave it up to the people. He says it doesn't look like Moose is on the same page, so they're trying to tease Moose possibly breaking off from this thing. And I don't think that's where it's going. So I don't know if they still do it, but in the early days of AEW, what they used to do, which the first couple times was kind of cool, and then they just kept doing it. They would tease a heel turning babyface or a heel leaving one of the stables, ultimately to just kind of end up remain. They would flip it. The turn would not actually happen. They would lead the people to believe it was going to happen, and then they do something to go back to being a heel, and they kind of just cement that they're going to remain in the stable, and then it kind of dies off. You know, Tony Khan used to do that. I mean, he did it with like Sammy Guevara. Um, Man, there was a few other. I just can't think who they are at the moment because it's been a couple years since I've seen the programs that I'm referring to. But or Daniel Garcia was another where the crowd was like getting behind him, and you think that the turn is coming, and then they ultimately end up remaining aligned with the babyface and completely screwing over the babyface that the crowd thought they were going to align themselves with. I don't know if that any of that makes sense. It is still kind of early for me, but I, I don't see. I think they're just trying to add another wrinkle to the system so that they're not played out and boring and not doing the same thing every single week. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's would make. I don't think it'd be smart to make Moose a babyface right now. It's not necessarily needed. You know what I mean? You got Joe Hendry, you got Mike Santana. You don't really have any strong heels. And the reason for that is because there's no angles on the show for the heels to get over in. Something that I'm pointing out week to week is that the wrestlers wrestle until the babyface wins the feud. There's just no scenario where the heel just wins the feud and moves on. That just does not happen in this company. So that said, no heel is built up to anything. No one's hot. No one has any real heat. There's no real heels at the top of the card because they lose all the time. All right, they lose when it counts, I should say. So anything else on that? Yeah, Diener said he wanted to leave it up to the people. He wants a public system resignation. I want, for the first time, a public system beatdown. I want them to beat the crap out of this dude. And then Moose says you're absolutely right, and then kicks Diener in the face, and they whoop his ass. Matthew Raywall's decided to be a heel for this segment. Little flip flopping son of a bitch, and that's that. After that, we have Queen of the Jesus Sandals, Gia Miller.
Jesus Christ, that's perfect. Of course you're here right now.
And she's backstage, and I'll drop these sound bites a little bit later, but she's with Zaya Brookside, Laying Lee, and Masha Slamovich. I'm always telling you guys, I think Zaya Brookside's a good speaker, with the exception of that segment she had with Rosemary on the TV a couple weeks ago, which was not very good. I always think she comes off natural. Even when she comes to the ring and she's just her mannerisms and everything, like she's not playing fake wrestling to me. Like she just comes off as herself and it's genuine. Laying Lee, she spoke a little bit. They go with the less is more with her. It works. The person that they need to continue, like they used to do, less is more, is Masha Slamovich. When she spoke English for the first time on this show, several months ago, she's feuding with Jordan Grace. Because she had been speaking Russian up to this point. I had said, you know what? She's not a bad promo. She can talk. I think she's been very exposed between now and then. Okay, I think she's very exposed. She's got the whiny voice. It's the Wrestling 101 promos. I'll defend his title against anyone at any time, at any place. If you knock me down, I'll get right back up. I mean, she's not saying anything that we haven't heard before. It's Wrestling 101. So her promos are starting to get very dry to me. And I think that they want her to be Jordan Grace. And as I said last week, she's not. But to be Jordan Grace, you got to talk. Jordan Grace talked a lot. I think that Masha should be a lot more silent. I do. I just they do not hit for me. Um, and she's not really that over with the crowd. Like she is, but not. You can tell like when she's wrestling Cora Jade and these other NXT girls come on the show, like they're way more over than her. So I just think you're exposing her a little bit by letting her talk so much. And then we are after this, we are backstage. The system is in some kind of lit up room, the way that they do. In comes the director of authority, Santino Marella,
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
and he lets Moose know that the first participant in the Ultimate X is Leon Slater.
Stay here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
And I could be very wrong on this. I'm pretty sure that Ultimate X is just basically we're gonna screw Leon Slater over in the end, and then set up the Moose versus Leon Slater feud. All these other people that are throwing in, they're just bodies. So Moose doesn't care about this. He blows it off, which also tells me that it's probably going to be Leon Slater who almost wins this thing. And then he tells him to go on TNAWrestling.com or whatever for the latest participant or the newest one after that. And it is the returning Matt Cardona.
You know, it's like you don't care about this company at all.
No fucking shit, I don't care about this company. Why, this is just an ATM to me.
So Matt Cardona and Ultimate X, like Matt Cardona had so much promise at one point of really reestablishing his career and being like this strong heel that could come and win the world title. Like he's just a break glass of in case of emergency guy now. Just throw him out there. You know, it's very frustrating. I thought there was so much more they could have done, but he just doesn't really commit to anywhere he goes because he wants to go back to WWE or he wants to wrestle in AEW. He's trying to say he enjoys being a free agent. He does not. He wants to go to one of those two companies. But because he's been outright begging for them in public, or at least that's the perception, they just don't seem like they want him. I would love to see him here with TNA long term and like get a world title run and all that. I think that ship has sailed, however. Next match we have Matthew Raywall, by the way, is a baby face here for a couple seconds and then cuts right back to being a heel when Ariana Grande shows up.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me, but I can't help it that I'm popular.
And the match that we have next, Knockouts Tag Team Action, we've got Spitfire, Jody Threat.
I just felt like running.
And her partner, Danny Luna.
God damn, bit like Mewtwo.
They have a very funny entrance. Jody Threat comes down running to the ring, and Danny Luna cannot be walking any slower in her part of the entrance. She's just doing this with the jacket while Jody Threat's running. So anyway, their opponents representing NXT Lash Legend.
Help me, Oprah Winfrey!
And Jakara Jackson.
Dracaris.
Jacksonville, the community. Duval.
So I initially thought that this match was not going to be very good. First of all, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson came out. They look like stars. I thought Spitfire looked very good too. You know, they have good ring gear. When they come out looking like they just went on a shopping spree from TJ Maxx wearing t-shirts and shit like that, that's what I'm not into. But you know, they came out, they've got good ring gear. And actually before I get to this match, I just want to say I am coming around on Spitfire a little bit. I've never particularly liked the group or liked the team. They have tried to create this illusion that they're the best tag team in Knockouts history because they're the only team that doesn't want to break up. And I'm starting to come around because obviously they've been showing off Danny Luna's strength lately. But I came around on Jody Threat at what's the fucking Sacrifice. I just thought she looked pretty good in the ring and just the last couple matches in general, you know. I was like, you know what, she can go, she can wrestle. I used to say that they were bad and they're not bad. So I'm kind of take all that back. I didn't think this match was going to be very good. It was okay. It was sloppy. It was clunky. There were some timing issues, but I enjoyed the match. And I think that both these two girls, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, have a lot of promise. Lash Legend is a bigger girl. She's a thicker girl. I'm not. She's never going to be a stick figure. You know, you can tell that. But I do think if she could get a little more lean, I'm not saying lose weight, but just a little leaner, cut a little bit. I think she'll be able to maneuver around the ring a lot better because there's a lot of angles, a lot of not angles, but there was just she has a clunkiness about her a little bit. It's not terrible. Like I've seen way worse, but she's a lot bigger than the other girls in the ring, and she has to be able to keep up with them a little bit. And it looks like she's a step behind a little, but you know, this I think they're a pretty impressive team. I think there's a lot that you can work with them. They've got personality. They were over as the baby faces in this match, unfortunately for TNA. And you know, when the match was over, they're in the corners. I wish they didn't get in the corner and start playing up to the crowd because it just got them fired up even more, and they were like basically the baby faces. But as I said, the match was a little better than I expected that it would be. It shows backstage watching a TV screen tilted backwards, which was really odd. But Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley are watching on this monitor, the screen, whatever that was tilted, scouting the match. I don't know why they lost last week. Like there's actually no justification for them to actually be on the show going forward. But we know that they're trying to do this 4-way tag team match, and most likely what they're going to try to do because in the end here, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend won. Most likely what they're going to try to do here is these two girls say we beat the former champions. These two girls said the current champions cheated to beat us, so now we're going to have a, you know, 4-way shit show. And I don't think it's going to be very good when they do it. You know, this as I said was okay, little clunky. There were some timing issues, and there's only 4 girls. I mean, yeah, 4 girls in a match. Imagine when there's 8. You know, and Ash is not the best wrestler in the world. Heather is pretty good. Tatum Paxley's pretty good. Gigi Dolan's all right. But I don't know that when you put all the pieces together, it's going to be very good. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it on the pre-show, but you know that's most likely where they're going with it. And I'll probably do an upload on this later. I think they handled the NXT partnership the right way initially. I think, and they grew into us wanting to see more. Like you know, at the beginning, it was the knockouts with, you know, Jordan Gracie, the open challenge, Brindley Reese, Carly Gray, uh, who were some Jordan Hawkins, which actually I think that's a backup shooting guard for the New Orleans Pelicans. But you understand what I'm going with it. They're just kind of giving us girls, and then all of a sudden we're getting these bigger names. But now it's too much now. They're throwing too much at us, and I think it's gonna fizzle out. Like only one of these girls can win the knockouts tag team match. So that being said, don't give us all these opponents at once. You know, like save some of these opponents for later. You know, then very quickly it's Oba Femi, it's Ethan Page, it's you know I think they're just giving us too much right now, rather than dragging it out. Because once this is over, these next couple of months, who the hell can you bring on? You know, you feel me? So that's that. But anyway, this backstage when it had Gigi and Tatum walking or watching the show, the contrast levels on in pre-editing and post-editing turned up to the max. It looked like shit. If you looked at the actual TV screen, it looked like an 8-bit Nintendo video game. I don't know why they have to mess with stuff in post-production like that. I do not get it. And these aren't even the same people, so it's the mindset. I don't know what it is. The product in the ring on screen looks 80% better than it has before. But then you go backstage and let's turn up the knobs again. They're not any physical knobs, but let's take the sliders, contrast all the way to the max, make it look like shit. I don't understand. Then backstage, we've got Mike Santana.
That's nasty.
He is walking with his boy, Derek. Derek has no soundbite. Well, I guess we can give him a soundbite. Derek.
Who?
Derek. So he's walking backstage, and then Santino comes up.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And he says, "This is my boy Derek I told you about," but then proceeds to again say that if I met him at rehab, so maybe he didn't tell him about him. And thanks for hiring him to be part of the ring crew. So we know we're going to hear from Derek again later, based on this segment. And Tom Hannafin here, he's going to be in good hands with Santino because he leaves him with Santino. Mike Gilbert was the one pointing this out. Like, they should have just edited that out, given what happens later in the show, because it made Hannafin look like a fool. When they're editing the show, I think they do got to go back to listen to some of these things a little bit better. So I forgot to point this out a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember who was in the ring. Could have been a girl, guy. I don't recall. But they come out, and Hannafin says something along the lines of, they're still shaking off the injury from last week. They almost were not medically cleared to be here. And as he says that, the wrestler goes into their, they snap their head back and go into their, I'd look like he's doing the spirit fingers there. I don't have a lot of room to work with here. They snap their head back and go right into their gimmick, their entrance gimmick, showing no ill effects of being injured, not selling anything, and I was like, man, he sounded so stupid there. Like, they should have just removed that in post-production, but they didn't. You can't go on there and say, oh, he's not 100%, and then the dude or girl is there doing their gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Like, ridiculous. Anyway, after this, we got in the ring. We're hearing from the Hardies. Matt Hardy.
Wonderful.
Jeff Hardy.
My name is Jeff.
And this was fine. I don't think there is bad talking, especially Jeff is the one that they always say is like a horrible promo, but I've always thought he sounded fine. If someone sounds like they're speaking in their real voice, Tom Hannafin, or if they're speaking in or just being natural, like, I don't think it's a bad promo. Anytime someone's just kind of being themselves. It's when you're like phony, acting like a character, and like Ethan Page, like Ethan Page, everyone says he's a good promo. He's not. He plays the part of a professional wrestler on TV, and he is acting. I don't believe a word he says. So maybe he's more charismatic, and which I guess Hardy is the charismatic enigma. So maybe that's not fair to say, but maybe Ethan Page is a little more charismatic, a little more well spoken, but he's just playing the part of wrestler on TV. I don't know if the Ethan Page is his real name or not, but it's like wrestler played by Ethan Page. Jeff Hardy's coming out there. He's being authentic and he's being himself. So it doesn't, him talking, it doesn't bother me. He did say, I wrote it. He did get on the mic, and instead of saying Joseph, he said, I almost said Joseph. Instead of saying Joseph, he said St. Joseph. So St. Joseph, Missouri. My brother Matt. Anyway, so they're doing their promo about the Nemeth brothers. We're doing a brother versus brother feud. I think it's going to be very good. Especially if Ryan Nemeth tones it down a little bit with the goofiness, so that we can really buy into the feud. But they're in the process of cutting their promo. Out comes a voice. I didn't even recognize the voice until the camera came on, and it is the great hand jobs.
Hey, for another 60, I'll jerk you off in the parking garage.
And they come out with, I don't know what her name is, the director of authority, Tasha Steeles.
We got a badass over here.
I know she's not the director of authority. The first lady, I forgot what her title is, and I'll probably mess it up every week because I don't care that much. So I'll probably just give her different titles, whatever. So they come out, and the John Schuyler goes for a lot of fucking cheap heat, and sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. I thought it did okay here. And they're going back and forth a little bit. Guess whose fucking music plays?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Santino comes out and he makes this a tag team match. So, immediately the goof ref comes out. So I say, okay, this isn't going to last long. To my surprise, this was a pretty decent match. We knew that the Hardies were going to win. The great hand jobs were not going to beat them. We know that, okay? But clearly they don't want to, since they're aligning themselves with Ali, they don't want them to come off as complete jobbers like they have up to this point. Man, and I enjoyed the match. I think it was my favorite match of the night. The Hardys still got their shit in. They played the hits, but the hand jobs did some work too. You know what I mean? Like it was a decent match. I did not expect it to go as long as it did. I didn't expect it to not be a squash match. And it probably should have been a squash match, because if you can't beat the great hand jobs, how are you going to beat the Nemeth brothers? But just because it caught me off guard and they let Skylar and who the fuck's his name, Hotch, work a little bit, I was into it. I was kind of into it. And the Hardys obviously win the match. I've told you guys before, I hate the term GOAT. GOAT has been around since forever, longer than some of you guys have been alive. It's just that it kind of hit the mainstream now. And I hate it. The Hardys, they used it twice. At first, Jeff Hardy said that we're the GOATs, the greatest team of all time, or something like that. That's not what GOAT stands for. I hate to break it to you. And then Matt got on the mic and he said GOAT as well. I'm like, can we not come up with a different term? I mean, I swear to God. So anyway, yeah, we had this match, and one of the funnier parts of the show is that it goes backstage again to the tilted screen, and it is Ryan Nemeth.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
And he's watching the match, and he's doing the WWE. He's got his back to the. He was never even in WWE, but he's doing the WWE, like watching the TV with your back to it. Which no one watches TV like that. That's how I stand outside my window in the living room when someone I don't know rings the doorbell. You know what I mean? So he's doing this thing. Leon Slater comes in. Leon is yelling at him. I don't even know why. I'm sure I'm missing something here. I'm forgetting something. I'm like, why is Leon Slater brawling with or going at it with Ryan Nemeth? And maybe it's fresher in your guys' head. I have no clue why they're going at it, other than they try to factor Leon Slater. Oh, because that's right, because he's aligned with the Hardys. That's what it is. But they're just trying to plug Leon Slater in here or there to make him a big deal. I didn't understand a word he was saying. He was and yelling. Like, fake security came, fat security guy. They're trying to remove Leon Slater. I don't understand a word Leon Slater is saying, yelling at Ryan Nemeth. But yes, I'm sure we're going to get them wrestling next week. This is followed up by, we hear from Mance Warner,
Law Mud Show garbage wrestler,
and the digital media champion, Steph DeLander.
Everybody's been real nice.
Well, that's because you have big jugs.
SDL, we should call her DSLs. You know what I'm saying? So they're coming out, they're cutting a little bit of a promo, talking about God knows what. And then the music hits.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Santino again. And he's coming out and he is letting them know that the Digital Media Championship is no more. Thank freaking God. And that there's going to be a new title, the TNA International Championship. And Did he? I don't think he said it here, but yeah, I think he said it later in the show. Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit. But anyway, there's a little bit of a tug of war with the title, and then Sammy Calorie Ham comes out and he has an eye patch on. Why does he have an eye patch? Because he cut coffee to the face last week. You would have third degree burn. Third degree burns is that no first degree? I think is like a sunburn. Trying to think what the order is. Like the lowest level of burn. I think it's first. I think third. I think the larger it grows, the more severe it is. So maybe I'm wrong here, but for the sake of argument, we're going to say first degree burns. Why does he have an eye patch on? Like seriously. It's in our nature if someone even remotely flinches our direction that we blink. So did it really get in his eyes like that? He really should have red skin and should kind of have some kind of bandaging on his skin like a fucking burn victim or something. Not, you know. Anyway, that's just BQ fucking nitpicking, obviously. But he comes out and he gets the fucking title. They brawl a little bit. These two are probably going to wrestle the rest of the year. I don't think they know. I don't think they're going to know how to get out of this feud. I really don't. I think it is going to continue for quite some time. Obviously, it's going to continue until Sami Callihan wins, which he's not even a full-time wrestler on the show, so who the fuck cares? Like, build Mance Warner up, but whatever. You know, Mance Warner's promos, he's different. He adds a different element to the show. So, you know, I think he's definitely a little indie, but at the same time, there's just no one like him on the show. So, you know, I can dig it. I can dig it. I forgot to point out Ryan Nemeth in the segment earlier wearing a freaking Cameron Brink Sparks jersey. That was that was great. They cut to a commercial. They cut back from a commercial. Guess whose fucking face we see on screen?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Santino. And he is announcing the three-way international tournament. So they pointed out that, you know, the big you know, three-way that was so popular, you know, best match in TNA history. AJ Styles, what the fuck's his old ass? Oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, he said Samoan Joe. That was one of the funnier things Santino had said. That's one of the few times he's made me laugh. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes usually shit. And Christopher Daniels, that's the other one. So in honor of them, the tournament is going to be all three-way matches. I think that's fine. I don't understand the brackets. I'm not going to lie to you. I said it last week. I think this is designed for Eddie Edwards to win because I think it's a national progression in the system. I think it's most likely going to be JDC Eddie Edwards in the finals, but then that means AJ Francis. I don't know. We'll get into the brackets, you know, the actual matches here in a little bit, but that's what the matches are going to be, and he'll be back a little bit later to give us the qualifying matches. Let us know what they are. And then it shows Derek left unattended backstage. Tasha Steeles walks up, says, Mr. Ali would like a word with you. They throw him in a trunk. There's a camera inside the trunk. There's music. What is their obsession with music? What is the obsession? You are either doing these segments as pre-tapes and letting us know this happened earlier in the night, or you're acting like it's happening in real time. You cannot do both. That's the dumb shit of someone who's watching for the first time saying, if this is happening in real time, why is there a camera in the trunk? Why is there music playing in the background? Anyway, they throw him in the trunk to go drive 20 feet forward to take him to see Mustafa Ali a little bit later. When he ultimately gets to Mustafa Ali, they put him in a chair, and he is saying he's congratulating him on his sobriety, but it's not okay that little girl that you hit that won't walk again. I thought this was intense. I thought it was excellent. Like everything that Ali does, I think it added to the feud. Like everything that they have, with the exception of pissing in the cup, everything is really added to this feud. And spits in his face. Says he's an addict. Spits in his face. Says, "Get out of my face." Lets him go. Hotch says, "Why do we let him go?" He said, "He's an addict. They destroy themselves." I don't want this feud to end. Like this is so far and beyond the best thing on this freaking show. And I know Cornette reviewed this show last week, and I don't know if he's going to continue to watch or if it was a one-time thing, but it's unfortunate that him and his partner are not watching this feud play out and understanding the story and didn't see it from the beginning, because they would be praising the shit out of this. There's not a single, podcaster, wrestling journalist in the world that wouldn't praise this if they didn't sit down and really watch it. It's really the best thing going on in this company, maybe one of the best things going on in wrestling, but they're just not going to get the credit for it, unfortunately. And it's fucking great. It is great. After this, we have the personal concierge.
That's my dad. But don't worry, he's cool.
Really? He doesn't look cool.
And he is with Heather by Elegance.
He has an erection.
Yeah. It's all her fault.
So they've written off Ash by Elegance off TV for a little bit. She's on vacation because she got the cake to the face. And I thought that Iceman was going to wear the title. And I thought that was one of the reasons he was in the match. I thought that he would be just holding the other title during this, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But they name drop on, not on Explosion, but on actual TNA television for the first time, someone they've got their eye on, and that is future WWE legend Maggie Lee.
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
The reason I call her future WWE legend, I'll break it down for you guys. If you go to her Twitter, her pinned tweet is it's something along the lines of her giving her mother an envelope and saying, "Open this when I get to WWE," which is fine. Everyone joins the industry to ultimately get to WWE. Not that big of a deal, but for that reason, she is the future WWE legend.
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
After this, we have Santino.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
And he is letting us know the first match. He's got a Tumblr, okay? And this is one of the fakest things I've ever seen in my life. He's just reading the names off within seconds of each other. Like, he's clearly not using a Tumblr. He's not even opening whatever. They're ping pong balls. They're not even like things that you can crack open and pull a name out. Anyway, the first match that he announces is going to include King of the White People Eddie Edwards, King of the Mid Card Ace Austin.
Is this your card?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's not, is it?
No.
And Steve Macklin.
Do the ass kicking around here. Wait your turn, jarhead.
Then we get a video package for the return of Ultimate X. No, for the return of El Hijo del Vikingo.
Hey, Excalibur, homo. Where can I pick one of those up? The gay zoo?
So he's going to be part of Ultimate X. And that's, everyone's excited about that because obviously everyone likes what he does in the ring. My notes are a little off here. My notes are a little off. You know what? Yeah, I see what I did wrong. Let's just move on here, and we'll get into that after. So next we have Knockouts tag team action. We have the team of JC Jane and Jasmine Nix representing Fatal Influence, and they are accompanied to the ring by Fallon Henley.
You can't sit with us!
when they were coming down to the ring, it actually reminded me of like the old school knockouts division, like the beautiful people era. Just their their entrance, the presentation, just their overall look. Like it just reminded me of kind of that era of the knockouts. You feel me on that? Their partner is Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, I don't like this. That if the Nuggets don't win this.
And this is a 6-woman tag team match. They're going up against Queen of the Rubber match, Xia Brookside, Laying Lee,
From Ching Chong, China.
and the TNA Knockouts champion, director of waste management, Masha Slamovich.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
I like the match. I think everyone in the match is good. And I don't have much to write home about that. In the middle of this match, Rosemary, I'm not going to play her soundbite. She was just sitting there. Fortunately, Tom Hannafin was not confused this time. He knew that it was Rosemary. She's watching this thing. And, I got to give them their respect because I pointed out on a very regular basis, they have no clue how to book the knockouts outside of the knockouts title. But here you've actually got a 6-woman thing going. You have Rosemary in the mix. I don't think Savannah Evans is in the mix anymore. But you got Rosemary in the mix. And it's kind of like, well, where's all this going? Because you actually have some kind of storyline going on. I turned the volume up a little bit, and Hannafin and Raywall were fake telling us that Rosemary's bringing out aggression in Xia Brookside. Like, they haven't really interacted that fucking much. But I will say Xia Brookside's strikes look like they hurt for as small as she is. And, I've told you guys, like, for those of you who met her in real life or who will in the future, she is tiny. She's a lot smaller than she is on TV, but she's a lot smaller than you think she is. But the move she does look like, whether it's strikes, her knees, or kicks, they look like they hurt you. We've had girls on the show, Allie, Madison Rain, that they're giving these forearms and they don't look like they hurt or that they're even barely fucking connecting, So Xia Brookside really has that about her, having a small frame and looking like she has some impact in what she does. So I would imagine this is probably kind of leading to another six-way, not a 6-way, but 6-woman tag match. I would imagine we're going to kind of get Fatal Influence as a team. And it might be against Xia Brookside, Laying Lee, and potentially Rosemary as well. I know we're talking mixing baby faces and heels, but I just kind of feel that's the direction it's going. I don't know, but I'm just excited that they actually have something they're trying to do outside of the title. Obviously Masha was involved in this match, but you feel me? They're actually trying to do something. And then I don't know what to say anymore, folks. After this, we have our favorite.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Santino, who feels the need to introduce himself every time he's on screen. He lets us know that the next match is going to be Salami Calorie Ham, the bread machine.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
He's fat!
Shout out to Lucha Doncic, by the way, because I think he's the one that came up with Calorie Ham. I just added the salami and the bread machine. So it's a 3-way. It also includes Rah Rah King, star of the hit TV show Vinyl Obsession, Eric Young.
Those times are like the rah rah speeches and like getting everybody up, because like nobody really get motivated off that stuff anyway.
And Johnny Dango Curtis. And he is, of course, messing up their names because that's what he does. I know, dude, I know I mess up people's names as well on my pod. Like, I give people alternate names. A lot of the time it's because I just don't remember their actual name. That's kind of where the Kid Icarus and Wizard Walt Williams thing came from, because I just knew one was Icarus, one was Williams. I didn't remember their first names. Don't remember who's who. You know, the Tank and Tyrese thing. I can't remember their real names. Couldn't tell you who was who between the two. So it's kind of what I just do on the pod. But Santino is just messing them up to just mess them up. He just, you know, as I said earlier, he said Samoan Joe. That made me laugh. Other than that, dude, he's just saying shit. And then we have Frankie Gazerian. Well, first we have Tom Hannafin saying, "I've been told Frankie Kazarian is on his way to the Impact Zone." Of course he is, because we are watching him come to the ring on his fake phony wrestling show.
Fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
And obviously kind of forgot this here, but Tessa Blanchard hit the buzzsaw DDT on that match earlier, pin Masha. They're obviously moving on to do their thing. I completely overlooked the finish of that match, so I apologize. And then we have the security surrounding Derek. Derek has, I think they're insinuating he relapsed. I think it would have helped if there was maybe some bottles or cans around him. But I believe they're insinuating that when they found him that he relapsed. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on there. And after it shows Derek relapsing, we get
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Santino. And once again, he is introducing himself. And he is again telling us who is in the next qualifying three-way match for the International Championship. And who is it? So the first one, he pulls the ball out of the tumbler, doesn't even read it. I mean, this fucking phony shit. He just grabs the ball out of the tumbler and immediately says, "Zach wins."
In one word, would I use dope? Nope.
And then the other opponents are Mance Warner and Big Boom AJ Francis. Boom! At this point, this is where I thought I messed up my notes for a second, and now I get it. Sami Callihan at this point walks in. I had him walking in earlier in my notes. I messed that up. He walks in, says he wants a trade. He wants Mance Warner. So him and Mance Warner are going to be in the same match. I don't remember exactly how they switched this up, but I think they're in the match with AJ Francis. So clearly AJ Francis is going to win that match, right? Because they're not going to have Sami Callihan win when he's in the middle of feuding with Mance Warner. So the feud means more than the fucking title, by the way. So I think AJ Francis is going to win, meaning the other one should be Wentz. Let's see. Let me scroll up here. So Wentz should be in the match with JDC and Eric Young. Okay. Man, I'm just thinking this is going to Eddie, JDC, and AJ Francis. Like, I just can't see if you're trying to pay tribute to AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe. Like, are they trying to do AJ Francis as the fat guy? Well, Eddie Edwards is also the fat guy. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here. I like the overall concept. I don't know if the execution is going to come off the way we like. And then from here, I am not going to bullshit you guys. I know that Frankie Gazerian came out and he is inserting himself. This has to be the worst call your shot cash in the history of this. This is what happened. What tells me is that they had no plan for Frankie Gazerian's cash in, which had a lot of intrigue because the fans are like, man, I wonder what they're going to do. You know, they're thinking they got something real special lined up, real original. I think what happened was they had no clue what they were going to do until they just found a match for him. And he is going to insert him. He is going to challenge Joe Hendry at Rebellion, take advantage of the injury. The minor injury that he suffered, this shoulder injury that he's probably going to fucking shake off by Rebellion. Isn't Rebellion like several weeks away? Joe Hendry's not going to still be fucking hurt by that point. This is by far This has surpassed Eddie Edwards as the worst fucking call your shot gauntlet cash in. And I shut the TV off at this point because Ethan Page came out. I don't care. I don't like him. I don't like his promos. I don't like anything about him. I thought he did some very good work in TNA. Thought he did some good AEW work in the beginning when he's part of the Men of the Year. And then he progressively has just annoyed me in and out of the ring. So I don't care. I don't even know that I'm going to watch the match at Rebellion. And I know he goes, oh, it's just wrestling. I'll watch the match. I don't care. I definitely wasn't going to take the TV off. I just put it back on mute. And then I just decided I'm just going to shut it off because I don't care. So I'm actually ending my review right there. I was hoping Ethan Page would not end up on this show at some point, just because it kind of goes back to what I say earlier. He's not an authentic character. I don't buy anything he says. It's just phony, and I don't like phony, so I'm just not going to watch that part of the show. I just shut it off. That's it. Just like I'm going to shut this off right now. Thanks for rocking with me. As always, I am your boy BQ. We will talk again next week. I actually forgot to do the mailbag for March. I had the questions and everything and just flat out forgot to do it. So we will get a mailbag going pretty soon, probably with those same questions, and I'll grab a few new ones. But that'll do it for me. I'm your boy BQ. I'm out. Peace.